kind of the ultimate set of manipulatives here. Is great for visualizing mathematical problems. So that's available in Minecraft EDU. Now the difference, there is Minecraft and there's Minecraft EDU. And so I'll spend a minute here or so and tell you the difference between them. Minecraft was created by a company called Mojang, and was actually the code was written by one person. He goes by Notch, and he he created this company that was just recently sold to Microsoft for about $2.5 billion. And you may have seen Notch just purchased an incredibly expensive house in like Beverly Hills or somewhere. That was all over the news. But he's out of the company now, and he got a little burned out by it. But the company's still there, Mojang, and it's still putting out Minecraft, and it put out the latest edition that just went gangbusters, and it's still incredibly popular. The big questions of what's going to happen to it now that Microsoft owns it, nobody knows, but we'll just have to wait and see. Minecraft does work for the PC and Mac and Linux. There's also a version for Xbox and PlayStation and iOS, Android devices. And it cost it's based on the euro, but it cost $26.95 per user, so per license. There's no Chromebook version of Minecraft yet because it does require an install, and it runs on Java. So installing and then Java are two words that really don't go well with Chromebooks. So I know Google is looking for ways to get around that because they would love to have Minecraft be able to play on a Chromebook. That's Minecraft. And here is it's about $26.95, but that's still too expensive. So if you wanted to have Minecraft licenses for your students, at least in my school, if I try to approach my principal and say, yeah, it's $26.95 per kid, and I've got 165 kids, so how about it? They would just laugh at me. And so I knew that wasn't going to happen until Minecraft EDU came out. And it's a mod of Minecraft. It's a modification. Minecraft Mojang let the code out and let people change and modify the game for free. And so a group called Teacher Gaming, 3 guys got together, teachers, and they wrote a mod for Minecraft that is fantastic because it's the regular Minecraft. You call it vanilla Minecraft, but they put in teacher tools, so tools that we can use as teachers by just clicking a box and it freezes all the kids, or turning the ability to go into creative mode on and then off, to transport students from one place to another, to be able to embed assignments and write on blocks in Minecraft. So they created this custom set of features that teachers love, and I know I do. And they worked out a deal with Mojang where they would be able to sell it for half price, but then also they license it per device, or really think of it as per simultaneous connection. So here's the example. I have 30 kids, and so we have 30 licenses. We have 35 licenses. That's what we purchased. As long as I don't have over 35 kids playing at one time, we're good. And so that's how I funnel 180 kids a day through Minecraft, because there's never more than 35 playing at a time. So you at your school, you just determine what's the maximum number that would be playing, and that's the number of licenses you have to purchase at $14 per in packs of 25. So it's a great deal, and you don't have to buy it again. It's not a yearly thing, and you get all the great tools. So there's what I was saying. That's how most schools use it. You buy it for a computer lab or a classroom, and it's about $400 if you look at it that way. The features, as I mentioned, it does have it's a GUI interface, so you don't have to know any command line code or server code to run the game. There are special blocks that you can place that let kids build in certain areas and keeps kids from building in other areas. There are border blocks so you can make sure the kids don't all run in all different directions. And their server tool is fantastic because most people who want to use Minecraft and play Minecraft have to play on a server, and it is a real server. It's on a rack somewhere, it's in an air-conditioned room, and it's the property of the IT department. But really, you don't need that with Minecraft EDU, and they created a tool, a software, that turns your good old teacher computer into a Minecraft server. I have a 7-year-old iMac that I use in my class. That is our class server, and my students connect to that every day. So I have up to 30 kids connecting to an old iMac, and I'm still using the iMac to run slideshows and other things at the same time. So it doesn't have to be your own rack-mounted server. It certainly could be, but if you wanted to start out small, then just run it in your class. And now some ideas here. I see the question about story, and yeah, I've got a perfect example for you. I'll share that. When you're creating worlds here in Minecraft, virtual worlds for the kids to play in, there's kind of 3 models that have emerged, and one is a model where the teachers are generating the content for the kids and the world. So I've got lots of teachers that are really good at building stuff in Minecraft, and then lots of teachers that really aren't. And the ones that are really good love to create these environments and buildings and connect them, and they're real techie. There's also student-generated ones. So in that case, the teachers are the ones that create sort of a template, and it's more minimal look. You do the scaffolding for the lesson, but then the kids build what you want them to build and what you're looking for. And then the collaborative build, which is where you're going to connect with other classes and work on something much grander, let's say. Okay, so here's some teacher-generated ideas. There's one called the Water Challenge. That is where you have one little water tank. If you look in the upper left-hand corner of that slide, there's a little water tank there. And the first thing you do is you realize you're in a team, and you have to figure out how to get the water flowing in this area. And then you have to figure out how to get the water to not only fall in one area, but to be able to grow a large amount of crops. So, and the water's difficult to get to move in that direction. So it's a team challenge, your team against other teams, trying to figure out who can create the most productive kind of ag land in this one area. And that's set up by the teacher. That's all built and in place, and the kids get dropped in. I mentioned the Lua programming one in Computercraft EDU. Again, developed by the teacher, so the kids drop in and they just follow directions and work their way through the world, kind of like a Disneyland. And then there's another one, an animal cell tour. So there's a teacher down in Australia who's created a world that is completely enclosed. It's a gigantic sphere, and the kids get spawned inside the animal cell, and then they fly around the animal cell to the different parts of the cell and discover, read about them, and learn literally animal cell biology from the inside out. There's a mod for Minecraft EDU that teaches the kids quantum physics. So this would be more for a high school level. And the World of Humanities in the middle there was developed by one teacher. And that's actually part of the world. You can sort of see it in there. And it teaches, he's in Kuwait, and he's at an American school there. And it teaches it's kind of 6th and 7th grade history. But that's how I see it. And the idea is the students are deposited and spawn in the starting point there, and then they go through this world on their own, individually, and go from one place to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and all learning their curriculum inside Minecraft. And so the whole course, and it's almost a semester-long course, is held entirely in Minecraft. And another one, the graphing zone. My friend Shane created this for math. It's a series of stops, and along the way where you either build you gather data that you're going to use to create graphs. So you do a fishing tournament, and you see how many fish you can catch out of how many casts you make. There is an archery tournament, and then there's a wood chopping event, and the whole time you're collecting data that you have to plot in Minecraft. So very visual. All these have in common is that they are developed by teachers, and the teachers are doing most of the building, and the students then work their way through it. Student-generated ones. There's a teacher in Australia. Their curriculum is heavily centered around Antarctica, science curriculum, because they're so close to it. And she had her fourth graders build the Antarctic South Pole base, the Amundsen Scott U.S. base down there. And they got to interview people that lived there, and they got the plans for it, and then they went out and built it to scale. And then they gave a tour of it, which is just fabulous to hear these fourth graders give a tour of this immense base. There's a landing strip there where the planes are, there's a hangar, and every one of those students knew the layout of that base and the purpose of every single building there. Very cool. There's a teacher up in Los Altos that does a California missions project. That's one of the early ideas that's really popular with teachers, especially fourth grade teachers, is the kids could create their missions. And she took it kind of one step further. Well, instead of just creating a mission, why don't you create El Camino Real, and then the students create the missions along El Camino Real. And then for mine, I see the question about time frame. That build, that's mine on the right, the Chinese city. And what I had my students do was to build a city, the medieval city of the Tang Dynasty city. It was called Chang'an. And they had to build it from scratch. I laid it out for them. They did the research. They selected a grid area. I selected one for them after they told me what kind of level of expertise they had in Minecraft, and I gave the harder areas, the harder buildings, to the more advanced players, and then the beginning players got to work together. And that I gave them 5 days. So it was 5 days in class of them building from literally the bottom up, to build a peasant home, to build government buildings, to build a palace, to build parkland, and to build those lighter areas there. Those are kind of open air marketplaces. And each period then got to build, and we would finish the build at the end of the period. I would save the world, and then the next period would come in, and they would see what the previous period did, and then continue from there. And then the third period, and then fourth period, and then the fifth period class would come in. So there were, it was like 155 kids throughout the day. 155 kids for 5 periods, and then for 5 days doing that. And it was a fabulous build. I absolutely loved it, and the kids were totally blown away by how well they were able to do that. So most of my projects, the build time is about a week. Sometimes it's a little less than that. It depends on, it depends on how deep I'm going with this. But for most, it is about 5 days of building. There's a lot of build up to it and what has to go into it. I don't just let them get in and say, yeah, build whatever you want. They have to really have thought it out ahead of time. Bandwidth is actually, it's amazingly, I don't say minimal, but I'm able to, with an Apple Airport router and my old iMac, and we have some old MacBooks that I use, and the kids get a little bit of lag, but that's kind of expected because we're on old machines. I don't think it has much to do with the network. The network holds up fine, and our IT people don't